Check, check.
Of America's best drivers in the biggest race of the year.
Hi there, everybody. Appreciate all the hard work, all the effort, the commitment all year long. We have all the ingredients. Put it all to work. All right, starting to get ready. Ready.
That rumble will shortly become a roar as 40 stock cars with nearly 800 horsepower come by the start-finish line in front of a sellout crowd.
Good job, buddy. P1 right there.
Welcome in, race fans and fans of No Toad Racing League, as we are here with the Stay Puft 200. This is iRacing on Faded TV. You can find us over on twitch.com/FadedTV or sit tight on the YouTube channel, No Toad Racing League. Please drop a like if you're watching over on YouTube right now. Certainly helps with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe. Appreciate all the support. Just like what we saw earlier today, we're at the Quad Oval of Atlanta Motor Speedway, but of course, iRacing still with the older version of Atlanta, which a lot of drivers do prefer, but it's going to be loose. The people are going to be sliding up there on the track. It's very hard on the front right tire out here, but we will see some really good side-by-side racing here nonetheless. Guys running up on the high side, low side, certainly can run all over the racetrack here. So we're looking forward to an exciting night of racing. We're glad that you guys are here, especially the early birds. Not too sure if my broadcasting partner, Kyle Gretsch, will be joining us here tonight, or if he is going to be in the race. We'll just have to see. No, actually, I think he is going to be joining us in the booth. Go ahead and reach out to him real fast. We'll go over some points. These guys getting ready to go into the qualifying session here. Let's go ahead and pull that up. You guys saw that in the intro. But we're going to go ahead and talk about it right now. Johnny Prug still holding on to the points lead at 276 points. Kendall Kerr, though, closely behind him with 265. Matt Piercini sitting in that third spot with 245. So those three drivers right there, only 30 points separating them. Johnny Prug with 11 bonus points altogether. He's the only multi-winner this season, coming in with 2 wins. Kerr with 1, Piercini with 1 as well. Down in fourth, Marty Rogers, 230 points. He also comes in with a win here this season. Oliver Turan, we've talked about him all season long. He's locked into that 5th spot currently with 228 points, having himself a really good point season here. He doesn't have any wins, but he does have 2 top 5s and 5 top 10s, so he's been running really good. Ileana Hamilton going to be in that 6th spot with 192 points. Benish, Benson, Crutchley, and Douglas Kelly rounding out the top 10. Important notes here tonight. There are some new drivers making their way here tonight, joining the league, making their debut here on Sunday nights. They have raced with these guys in their other series. I'm told Ryan Andrews is an amazing driver. We need to keep our eye on him. He's new to the Sunday series, but he does really well in every other series that No Toad Racing League does. So definitely somebody to keep an eye on here. And, of course, I'm Brandon Robinson with Faded TV. Joining me in the booth right now, fan favorite, Sexy Wall Trip, Kyle Gretsch. How you doing, Kyle?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to get you turned up here. I think last week you were a little quiet. That's on me, not you, so don't worry about it. I'm going to turn your mic volume up a little bit, 170%. We saw today what the new Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to look like, a miniature super speedway, a 1.5 mile super speedway, if you will. We're on the old build here, the Quad Oval still, but a much wider track. It doesn't narrow down in turn 1 like we saw in today's race. There's not as much grip here tonight, but Atlanta seems to be a driver's favorite, especially here on the iRacing circuit. It's certainly one of my top tracks as well. What's your opinion on Atlanta Motor Speedway, and what can the guys watching at home expect here tonight with No Toad Racing?
Yeah, this is a high tire wear track. You really, really have to learn how to manage your tires here. This is the track that taught me like pretty much everything I needed to know about how to manage my tire wear. You know, you're Z class iRacer, you're starting to run the ARCA cars, and all of a sudden this track comes up on the schedule. You burn through your tires extremely quickly. So you have to learn very, very quick how to keep that right front under you. And then you start keeping that right front under you and you start leaning on that right rear. Now you have to start working on both tires. So once you start getting both of those in line together, you start getting even wear and low wear is when you can start dominating and winning races here.
Absolutely. And what I talked about too was Atlanta in this configuration, very wide track throughout, all through the turns, the front stretch, the back stretch. And as the race goes on, we'll probably start seeing the majority of the drivers try to drift up on these long green flag runs, almost all the way up to the wall. Some may choose to stay mid, but when we're on a short run here, we're going to see drivers all the way from the white line all the way up to the wall. Should make for some 2 wide, hopefully maybe some 3 wide action here.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this is a track where you can kind of make both lines work. Maybe 3 and 4, you know, the high line kind of early on in a run won't work. But if you're someone who likes running the bottom, you can, you know, drive into the corner on the bottom and get it to stick and be easy on your tires, just as easy as someone can kind of roll that high side. You know, those high side Larson line people who can, you know, really run that high line and you can still manage your tires up there. So we should see some good racing here. And, you know, especially on these restarts, everyone's on fresh tires, kind of equal footing with some exciting racing.
Yeah, as we talked about, one of the new drivers here tonight, Ryan Andrews, we take a look at his time right now. It does look like he is holding that pole position over Justin Malarkey with a 31.59. We'll see if that holds through the qualifying session. But he's not the only new driver here at the Stay Puft 200. Of course, this is sponsored by Jason Benson. We're going to have 130 laps here tonight, 1 fast repair, 4 extra sets of tires. And let's talk about the call-ups from the NTRL series. We have Brian Andrews, Nick Biddy, Joe David, and Mike Caravu. Kyle, you caught me up to speed a little bit about Andrews. Do you have any other information about Nick, Joe, and Mike?
So I don't see Nick in this race, but I can talk about Nick real quick. He is a Georgia man. He is from Dawsonville, Georgia. You know, anybody from there, you know, if you think their last name's Elliott, but no, we got a Biddy in the mix. We got Koravu, who's, I believe, making his first start. I think that's who you said.
Yep.
He's also, he's an ARCA series driver, just like Nick Biddy. The two of them, we watch them every Monday. Joe Tucci, made a little in and out, but he had a good start last weekend. That was his debut. Don't know too much about him, but he should be interesting to watch. And then, of course, you're talking about Ryan Andrew. He is the big heavy hitter out of this mix of new guys. He has pretty much destroyed anyone in the 87 series. He shows up to the truck series, almost wins every race he does in that. And then I was chilling after some races on Wednesday, thinking I have escaped the wrath of Ryan Andrew, and I'm watching Moon Car, and that man is up in the lead in the 87 cars in Moon Car. So he is a man that is all over the place and not in the dart without feathers kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely. And he does stay true with the 31.587. He's going to be the pole sitter here tonight. Justin Malarkey going to be joining him on the front row on the outside. Coming in third is going to be Matt Piercini with Oliver Turan on the outside of him, row 2. Row 3 is going to be Binish there in the 5th spot. Michael McCuskey in 6th. John Creedler in 7th. Kendall Kerr going to be in 8th. He is 2nd in points. Al Corey going to be 9th. Scott Kelly in 10th. Terry Fullwider 11th. Marty Rogers sitting in 12th. Outside of those guys right there, it's going to be Will Jester 13th. Uris 14th. Willie Whitaker in that 15th spot. Tucci, who Kyle had just mentioned, coming from the Northwest, going to be in the 16th position. Ileana Hamilton in 17th. John Campbell 18th. Lawson and Crutchley going to be on row number 10. Sid Kashishian with a maybe a lackluster performance considering his skill talent there. Kyle going to be coming in 21st with Brian Cooper 22nd, and newcomer Mike Caravu in that 23rd position. I'm not too sure. Some of these guys I don't think actually did a qualifying run. But Kyle, to see Sid Kashishi and all the way down there in 21st, Ileana Hamilton down there in 17th, some of the guys that we are used to seeing up front struggling here a little bit at this cold Atlanta layout. There's no sun. It's cloudy. Track temperatures are a little bit cool. We'll see how it goes. But again, surprising to see those guys outside the top 10.
Yeah, Sid, as of a couple weeks ago, he has moved full-time to race control. He probably just joined the session, registered for it as usual, just out of habit. But yeah, Cooper and Corvu, they might have just had a run going where they were trying to get that high side to work, and they just kind of slid up coming out of turn 2, which I think is kind of a danger zone here, and clipped the wall and invalidated their laps.
No profile picture for Ryan Andrew, but he does have his hometown information coming from Des Moines. An Xfinity driver, as we talked about, running the 87s. The other guys being ran in the ARCA series. And again, Ryan Andrew, one of those guys Kyle mentioned, running a few leagues and doing really well for himself. So it's really good to see this league continue to grow and bring in some talent. We'll leave the track map up there just for a little while. We got the tower on the left. You see the lights on top of your screen right here as we come down the backstretch. We're going to get back to green flag racing. I'm excited. The race earlier I thought was pretty good with the new format, but Kyle, there's nothing like Atlanta Motor Speedway on iRacing.
Definitely. I mean, this is the track where you have every single aspect of kind of what makes stock car amazing. You got the speed, you've got the tire wear, and you've got just every lane you could possibly think of to run. It's kind of like a smaller auto club in a sense.
As we get ready to go into the start zone, there we are. We see already a wreck right there. Matt Piercini involved in there. We'll see. I mean, we got to throw a caution for that. I assume race control. Yep, there we go. And unfortunately, I think that might have been Binish that spun his tires there.
It was Oliver Turin. He was just coming up to speed. That was another thing I forgot to mention. He just trying to get your start going here is just trying to get it going without spinning the tires, and he just completely misjudged it there, hooked it dead left in the side of Pericini, and just stacked up in front of the whole field. That is very unfortunate.
Good call there, Oliver Turan. I was in the blimp view there, so I didn't really get to see a good look to see who it was, but here it is in the mellow yellow. Talked about him a little bit pre-race here. He's been having himself a really good season so far. Let's take a look in the chase cam and see what happened there. Oh, yeah, definitely just spun his tires there a little bit. And really just, I'm wondering, Kyle, that almost, from my perspective, from my experience, that almost looked like maybe something hardware-wise on his end just wasn't ready to go, because his car looked really weird, kind of just traveling. It almost looked like it was just floating, up to the right, up the track, and then when he came back down left, there was no control of that car at all.
Yeah, that's just more of a symptom of what you see when you start spinning the tires here. He came over the radio and apologized for spinning the tires there. So, yeah, just one of those unfortunate situations. It's just kind of like one of those things at Atlanta you need to get down. That's what we have practice races and stuff. That's usually something you can usually get a couple of restarts under your belt to kind of figure that out. But thankfully, we have one fast repair for everybody. So we'll just put everyone on the back foot for that, but we'll still have everyone still in the race going forward here.
Now, something to note here, we did talk about it briefly. These guys do have one fast repair, and I think Matt Piercini came down and used it. I would assume Oliver Turan will do the same. He got some pretty good licks there, Kyle. He was up in the wall, came down on Matt Piercini, and then back into the wall. So he had some relatively high damage considering we didn't even turn a lap. So I think both those drivers coming down pit lane, using that fast repair, something you do not want to do as a driver on lap 1.
Yeah, and to add to that list, we've got Terry Fullwider who came down. He used his fast repair as well. John Campbell in the 117, he also came down, used his fast repair. He got into Oliver Turin there at the tail end of the wreck, unfortunately. But kind of a light at the end of the tunnel here is you've got your fast repair, you're back in the race. We haven't gotten too far in the race. We've got we'll probably have 125-ish laps when we get going here, so you're not out of it yet.
Yeah, beginning of the race, right at the green flag, Oliver Turan spinning his tires, getting loose, taking himself and Matt Piercini down pit road, among a few others as well. We saw the chorus driver coming off pit road using his fast repair, and but like you said, hey, that's a mulligan for these drivers. We're going to get these guys reset side by side. Ryan Andrew, Justin Malarkey still in that top row, but because of the incident, Michael McCuskey's up 3 spots. Kendall Kerr's going to be up 4 spots. Looks like they're taking over that second row. Scott Kelly, a big winner out of that, up 5 spots. He's going to be in that 5th position. If these stay true, of course, I'm not too sure how that's going to work with race control. If these guys, because Kyle, that flag was thrown a little bit late. I don't know if maybe Kashishian obviously probably didn't expect a caution right then and there. But some of these guys certainly gained some spots before that caution was thrown.
Yeah, that's just one of the unfortunate things there with iRacing. I think in real life that would be a situation where the caution comes out that early. We would just go back to the normal starting lineup with some of those drivers thrown to the back. But yeah, no, I mean that was a thrown caution by our admin here, Sid Kashishian. Just because it had sent the 24 sideways into the grass, and he had thrown it when the 24 went across the grass, and not before Oliver kind of spun back up in front of the field.
Yeah, fair enough on that. Now, it looks like as we take a look at Oliver Turan's race car, he did not use his fast repair. I think he came down pit road a second time, maybe just trying to get, maybe when he went down the first time, he realized that there wasn't that much repair time. So it looks like the front of his car got fixed. The rear end's still a little bit messed up there. And certainly here at Atlanta, you want as much of your car intact as possible. It's a very loose racetrack, if you will. Downforce is key here. Taking care of your tires. You want your car to be in top shape.
Man, we got a couple cars up here with damage. I didn't even realize. We've got McCuskey. He's got rear bumper damage. We have Al Corey, who's got bumper damage. We've got the 99 of Kreidler, who's got bumper damage. We've got a bunch of guys that have damage from this start that, we don't know the effects of that until we start going here.
That's right. And the guys that don't have to worry about damage right now, most certainly Ryan Andrew and Justin Malarkey, as we get set to take the green flag for the second time here today at Atlanta. This is No Toad Racing League, the Xfinity Series here on Sunday nights. And here is that newcomer in the black and purple 25, Ryan Andrews. Justin Malarkey right there, single file behind him in that second spot. Kendall Kerr still third. Binish in fourth. And it looks like right now the top 5 going to be single file. Binish getting that high side working in there. Looks like he's going to make the pass onto Kerr for that third spot. Kerr going to be giving up 2 spots as it looks like Michael McCuskey getting a run. Nope, Kerr checks up high, shuts the door on that, comes back down low. Now it works onto the bumper of Michael McCuskey. You see Binish there up by the high side all by himself. And Kyle, what a start for Binish. Only up 3 spots, but getting that high side going and taking the lead from Andrews.
Yeah, AJ almost won a couple weeks ago, but unfortunately got was on the bad end of the deal of a late race caution. He is sitting out in front here, but one of the kind of cool things about Atlanta is it being such a tire wear racetrack. There's really a minimal amount of incentive to just kind of go out there and kill the field early, because you're going to want to keep those tires under you as long as possible. So the longer we get into the run here, you can start to kind of gradually expand that lead you have over the guy behind you or catch the person in front of you.
As we take a look from the grandstands here, kind of a unique look that iRacing offers from certain tracks. Not every track has a spectator cam, so we'll certainly use it here at Atlanta, just like we're looking down from our own seat here. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a very good point. And I suppose it's one of those things. Binish just has a really fast race car. You can tell right there. He looked at it as, hey, I can pass these guys. Let's do it now. I'll worry about tire wear down the road when we get there. But right now, that 7 car up to a huge lead, over a half second on second place driver Kendall Kerr, as he's made his way around Justin Malarkey. Ryan Andrew actually down 4 spots now, sitting in that 5th spot. But as Kyle, as you said, there's no rush here. We have 130 laps. We know this track's going to be hard on your right front. Andrew might have lost that lead early and just said, hey, you know what? I'm going to just take some time and sit back.
Yeah, his line looks really, really tighty here. Kind of looks like he's getting this kind of turn in where he's not kind of pushing that right front. Very, very conservative on the tires here. So I would look at him maybe later in the run to see him kind of rebound, or in these next couple laps kind of get in the groove and kind of figure it out. But these guys that are out front right now, a lot of times we've had people break out and dominate early, lead the first 15 laps or so, and then by the time it's lap 20 they're already down to 4th place because their tires are just completely shot.
We talked about Brian Cooper last week. He had the inverted Iowa Hawkeyes paint scheme. Tonight he's rocking the yellow and black, and we're going to bring him up again because, Kyle, he is up 11 spots. Started in that 22nd position. He's now outside the top 10, sitting there in 11th. A driver who you had talked about, some of these guys have bumper damage. He's got a big old smack in the middle of his rear bumper, but so far so good as he makes his climb up towards the top 10.
Yeah, a little bit of front and rear damage. So he's, it'd be just interesting to kind of keep his eye on his temperatures here to see if, he gets some sort of temperature increase, or, if he's maybe potentially got some straight line speed damage. But yeah, he's a guy that's, he's good. He can get these solid finishes out of his car. He's not someone who's flashy, who's out front kind of dominating races, but he's someone to keep your eye on, to get a good finish and potentially, sneak something out on the competition here.
Sunday night Xfinity Series rookie driver Mike Carrefour also making a nice little splash for himself. He's up 10 spots into the 13th position. Oliver Turan, of course, after that caution, he's down 13 spots. He seems to be the biggest loser so far of the night. Matt Piercini, who was also involved in that, a little bit of a better rebound. He does lose a total of 6 spots. He's sitting in that 9th position right now, still in the top 10. He did use that fast repair, though, so his car is healthy right now. He's on that back bumper of the 99 of John Creedler. Creedler stays high. Piercini goes low. The 45 of Al Corey goes down low with him as well, and we're 3 ride at Atlanta.
Yeah, sketchy times here. That's not a place you really want to be, but you just got to give room to the guy on the inside of you and kind of see who you are in that mix there. But yeah, we got a good bunch here with these drivers. Interesting to see just how this tire wear will work out. We will see comers and goers. It is not a question of, if we will see them. It is a question of when someone will start to gain back what they have given up here in this early part of the run.
Right now, Kendall Kerr on the inside of the 7. They almost touch coming out of turn 2 and on to the back stretch. Because of that, Kendall Kerr getting a little bit loose there. He's going to have to concede that run that he had with Binish right there. So the 7 of AJ is going to hold on to the lead. Kendall Kerr, though, making his charge up front. We saw 46 lead changes in today's IRL race. I don't think we're going to see that here tonight with just 130 laps. But right now, Binish and Kerr way out in front with Justin Malarkey in the 97 car sitting 3rd. Ileana Hamilton, another driver up double digits. He's found his way from 17th all the way up to 4th. He was one of those drivers that I had some concern for early on into the race. Kyle said, hold on, slow down. They're going to be just fine. And most certainly Hamilton making me a believer right now all the way up inside the top 5.
Yeah, Ileana Hamilton, if I had to compare him to someone in real life, I'd compare him to Kevin Harvick, because a lot of the times it gets down to the end of the race and, it's been a crazy one and people are flipping and, we got cautions and crazy tire strategies, and then all of a sudden Ileana Hamilton's in first. It's a very much a case of Mr. Where did he come from?
Yeah, that's too bad, because I like Ileana Hamilton, but I cannot stand Kevin Harvick. So, but respect is given. Harvick, big dog for a long time, been in the game, knows what he's doing. But right now, as these top drivers, at least 1 through 5, really start to separate right now, that's the 22 of Michael McCuskey. He is in that 5th spot. So we're going to go back to the 6th, 7th, and 8th driver right now, Matt Piercini, the 67 of Urias, and the 45 of Al Corey, who finds himself in the top 10 as well. These guys, and behind them, this is where the action is really starting to take place. Yes, they're single file, but they're bumper to bumper. And like you said, Kyle, at any moment, one of these guys may get a good run. They've been holding back, saving tires, while the guy in front of them may start slowing up a little bit.
I just realized something that might explain why Ryan Andrews is falling back so hard. our fuel window is 36 to 40 laps. If you stretch it to 40 laps and pit every 40 laps, you're only going to make it to lap 120. So if you can get it to 40, and then you can save almost 2-3 laps extra per stint, you can make it to the end of the race. And I'm wondering if Ryan Andrews is doing a really, really conservative stint here to kind of cut out a pit stop.
Yeah, he could be. He drops outside of the top 10. He's in 11th, and, you know, why not? He came into tonight making his debut. He took the pole position. He proved to these guys, I'm faster than you. Now I'm going to prove to you that I'm smarter than you, as he slows down and falls back into that 11th position. And that may sound a little bit more harsh than what I mean, Kyle, but you're absolutely right. He's playing the chess game right now and allowing these guys to really not just burn the tires, but like you said, burn that fuel. He may be playing the fuel strategy here. We'll have to wait and see at the end of the race.
Yeah, the fuel strategy game is something you have to kind of commit to early. You know, make that move so you're saving just, you know, tiny increments every lap instead of saving a whole bunch at the end of the stint here. But Joe Tucci in the back, the last 2 laps coming out of turn 2 has been almost dead sideways and hitting the person on the outside of him. It's been kind of sketchy. Ooh, as he hits the wall in the backstretch.
Yeah, he is in the wall. He's also a lap down. Dangerous right there for the 94 car, as he has certainly struggled here in the early going. Lap 22, coming up on 23 right now. And as we said, he's already a lap down. He's struggling here at this racetrack, keeping his car straight. And we saw it there on the backstretch, getting really loose there, almost taking out the 34 car of Scott Kelly. So Tucci certainly going to have to get it under wraps here. You don't want to see a driver out there struggling, but you certainly also don't want to see him cause any of these lead lap cars any issues.
Yeah, and especially if you're starting to get loose off the corners, you start getting loose, you're putting temperature in that right rear, you're wearing off a little bit of that grip, you know, that crutch you need to kind of get off the corner later in the run. So all this is doing is kind of just compounding the issue for later in the run, where he's already having problems.
Oliver Turan, unfortunately, by not using that quick repair, we talked about how much the damage to these cars were going to affect them. We've seen some drivers have no negative effect at all. In fact, some have gained positions, but Oliver Turan back here in the mellow yellow car has dropped even further into the standings right now. He has dropped to that 20th spot, but again, we don't know some of these drivers. Ryan Andrews from the get-go looks like he was playing that fuel strategy. There might be some drivers here, Kyle, that didn't have that game plan at first, but considering what happened on the first lap, the damage, they're saving their fast repair. It might throw some drivers like Oliver Turan to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I don't need to rush back up front. Let me just take it easy, save some fuel. I'll use my fast repair down the road when we get closer to the end of this race, and I have more fuel than the other guys.
Well, an interesting thing to note here is that we had that 10-lap kind of zone that we had to close up for the drivers here to kind of make sure that they could make it to the end and cut out a complete pit stop. Well, we had a caution coming to the green, so we have got practically 5 laps taken off the race distance, to where now that range of, you know, maybe adding 2 or 3 laps to each stint, you know, will get you to the finish without making that extra stop.
It looks like AJ Binish's dominant run is not just conceded by Kendall Kerr. He's up on that high side right there. Justin Malarkey on the inside. He's going to get around him. It looks like Ilian Hamilton's going to be next. He slides single file behind Binish for now, but AJ certainly falling off there. You see him on the high side through turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4 now. He's kind of in that middle lane, maybe trying to work the draft and keep the momentum with the 97 of Malarkey, but certainly the 7 car got up to the front super early, was really dominant within the first 10 or 15 laps or so of green flag racing, but here he is falling off, and Kyle, so is Kendall Kerr. Here comes Malarkey and Binish.
Yeah, this tire strategy, that's the one thing. You got your comers and goers, and a lot of the times the guys that come out to like these extraordinary leads in the first kind of 10-lap run will just quickly fall back into the pack. I'd like to bring attention to Michael McCuskey running P5 at the moment. Very, very impressive run for him. He's a driver that when he joined NTRL was kind of somebody who was a little all over the place, but he's been reeling it in and he's been improving steadily as a driver. I did the 24 hours with him, and he's someone that should be applauded for the effort that he's put in at the moment.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was actually his racing teammate in another league, in an Xfinity series, and he had some good advice. He certainly has some good knowledge. He helped me take home some podiums in that league when we were working together, and certainly, like you said, quietly here, having himself a pretty good run here tonight at Atlanta, currently running P5. Back up front, though, Justin Malarkey not able to catch the bumper of the Kendall Kerr 21 machine, but certainly starting to drift away from Ileana Hamilton and AJ Binish. Right there, you see the top 5 drivers separating themselves. We see Ryan Andrews. Kyle, the last time we checked into him talking about fuel, he was way back in 11th and 12th. He's now creeped his way back up into that 6th spot.
Yeah, steadily improving through the field, just kind of saved or did whatever he was doing there. We're not quite sure, but yeah, just flipped a switch and has been able to pass a bunch of drivers here, kind of pass through that pack of Corey, Parasini, Kreidler, and Fullwider.
We're going to jump into the cockpit cam of Justin Malarkey as they come down the backstretch, down into turn 3 and 4. You see the 97 certainly taking the higher side compared to our leader, Kendall Kerr, and what looked like was going to be enough momentum from Malarkey to catch and pass Kendall Kerr has certainly come to a stop there. Kendall Kerr still in complete control of this race, as you see. Again, the top 5 pretty much single file for now.
Yeah, Malarkey been slightly absent from the series, but he currently is sitting P21 in the standings with a win. So our top 3 drivers are sitting at 1 win apiece, and we only have Johnny Brugg sitting at the top with 2 wins. So if any guys here in the top 3 could come out and take a win here, they'd be sitting on 2 wins for the season, which is pretty good.
And of course, Johnny Brugg not making it here tonight. His points lead over Kendall Kerr was only at around 11 points right there. So you know Kendall Kerr was taking a look at those point standings coming in here tonight, knowing Johnny Brugg was going to be absent, needing a good finish. And right now on lap 32, considering where we're at in this race, taking care of business, as he is our race leader and has been for the last 20 laps.
Yeah, we got Johnny Brugg in the comments. He's I believe he's in Phoenix. I might be wrong, but yeah, having a nice vacation this weekend, and hopefully he'll be back next weekend. But we have 2 drop weeks, so it's not urgent to show up for every week. You've got your 2 kind of vacation days that you can take from this series and still have a full season's worth of points. But you know, you have those 2 drop weeks, but you can't really rely on you having a good race every single race. So those drop weeks can come in handy for when you go to a place like Daytona or Talladega and you get caught up in a bunch of accidents and wreck out of the race.
Yeah, and real quick here for the viewers at home, the friends and family, when you talk about a drop week, can you just briefly explain to the viewers what that means for our drivers?
Yeah, so we have a season that is 12 weeks long. We will only count the best 10 finishes a driver has throughout a season. So if you have 2 bad races, or even if you just don't show up a week, we will only be counting your 10 best points finishes throughout the season. So 2 of our 12 weeks do not count towards a championship for each individual driver.
All right, good enough for me. Hopefully good enough for the viewers at home as well. Makes perfect sense there. So Brugg, he's chilling. He's on vacation. Brugg, thank you for joining us in the chat here tonight and checking in on your fellow sim racers. As you see, the second place driver or in the point standings, Kendall Kerr, dominating this race. Justin Malarkey trying to do everything he can in his Ford Mustang to break the pace of Kendall Kerr, but really not being able to do it. You see the 97 of Malarkey mimicking Kendall Kerr for the most part, especially through 1 and 2. It looks like 3 and 4. Kerr does like to go a little bit lower than Malarkey. There it is right there. You see Kerr not necessarily going down to that white line, but pretty darn close. Malarkey starts up high in turn 3, and then preparing for the exit of turn 4, he brings it down just a little bit through that middle line to make sure, Kyle, that he can really access that full potential on corner exit and not get up into the wall.
Yeah, and I'd like to bring attention to Justin Malarkey. He has not raced since January 23rd in the Sunday Series, where he won at Bristol. So kind of a comeback for him to where he's able to come out here and fight for a win. But right behind him, you start playing the Jaws music, Ryan Andrews, our pole sitter.
Yep, he's made his way again all the way from as bad as the 11th spot up to 6th, now up to 3rd. He was our pole sitter here. We assumed he was playing fuel strategy there, but who knows? Maybe he just wanted to fall back a little bit like we do see some drivers do in the super speedways. They kind of fall back, let the guys in front wear out their vehicles, maybe try to avoid the big one. Right now, you see him blow the doors off Justin Malarkey for second. Now all the way up on that high side on the outside door of the 21 of Kendall Kerr, looking for that lead. Kerr's going to check up high and cut him off.
Yeah, we got drivers hitting pit roads, so we should start seeing pit stops here for some of these lead cars. I'd be interested to see how long Ryan Andrew goes, because if he's able to go a couple more laps, he might be in a really, really good position here for the rest of the race, on top of just being as fast as he is.
Well, and as you brought up earlier, that very first caution we had, it was on lap 1, allowing these drivers to have a little bit more fuel at this point of the race. Originally, we talked about 35 to 40 laps in that fuel window. Of course, now that increases because we spent the first 6 or 7 laps or so under a caution, which does say fuel. These drivers driving around on their clutch and or turning off their engine, saving that fuel in the very beginning of the race, certainly allowing these drivers to have a little bit more fuel. And as we do go under pit stops, Matt Piracini, Kendall Kerr, one of the most notable ones there, Kyle, our race leader down pit road.
And we got Ryan Andrews on the pit road as well.
So not too much there, but like you said, that lap 40, he extends it to lap 41. So he certainly is in that pit window that you were talking about, trying to think the end game here as far as their fuel goes. Now the 97 of Justin Malarkey is going to take over this race. He's earned it. Go out there, lead a lap or two, Justin. You fought well against Kendall Kerr. Terry Fullwider is going to move up. John Campbell in that 3rd spot now. Marty Rogers is going to be taking over the 4th with John Crutchley in that 5th position. Right now, leaders down pit road: Ryan Andrew, Kendall Kerr, Creedler, Michael McCuskey, Matt Piracini, all notable drivers who came down between lap 38 and lap 41.
Man, interesting here for Justin Malarkey, Fullwider, and John Campbell. I mean, that lap 40 mark, is good and all, but I mean, that's with 5 laps under caution. You really need to start pushing that window out further for you to even be considering cutting out a stop. So I think most of these guys are going to have to make a 4-stop race here, not 4-stop race, 3-stop race here. Should be pretty interesting here coming down to the end of the race.
Yeah, and we'll see if some of these drivers like Oliver Turan, who's right now running second down the backstretch here, when he does decide to come down for his next pit stop, will he use that fast repair? You see the damage still heavily on that left corner panel and that bumper on the rear. Certainly has to affect some of his racing. Will he use his fast repair now? Is he going to wait longer into the race for that 2nd or 3rd pit window for these drivers? We'll have to wait and see. But right now, Marty Rogers in the 32 Keystone Chevrolet in the lead, and it looks like now he's coming down pit road as well.
Yeah, the thing with the fast repair here is I think it would be smart to use it now, but you never know what's going to happen throughout the course of a run. If you use it now and we kind of have a rash of cautions at the end and you find yourself without a fast repair here, it might be a game over for you. So I think sometimes it might be good for you to just kind of deal with the damage if you don't think it's hurting you that much.
Well, we're going to stay with Oliver right now as he goes down pit road. We're going to do this chase cam right now. It's a little generic, I know, but we're going to focus on this damage as he comes into his pit stop right now. Is he going to use his fast repair this early on into the race?
Everybody take your bets.
Yeah, take your bets right now. They're going to do tires, and then it takes about, Kyle, I think, what, a second and a half for that fast repair to work?
I've seen it work kind of quickly. I've never timed it. I would say it's probably under a second.
So right now he's got his tires. Now they're putting in fuel.
Yeah, and through the cycling of the pit stops here, AJ Binish is taking the lead. We've got Ileana Hamilton right behind him, and Drawn Kreidler in third. Kendall Kerr is in fourth, and we've got Ryan Andrew in fifth. So got a little bit of a shuffling in the order here for the top five.
So we're going to jump off. This is a very long pit stop for Oliver. Kyle, I'm interested to see if he's just going to do his recommended repairs. I mean, I just don't see why you would. I mean, you have the fast repair, use it, but he may be sitting there just trying to take care of it a little at a time, or maybe he doesn't realize they have fast repairs and he has it unchecked. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't see a situation where he's accidentally used it unless that's new damage on his car that has come up. And he maybe has used his fast repair. I don't know. It's a confusing situation there.
Well, I do know when that first caution hit, he came down and his car was really banged up. I mean, he would have had to have had cosmetic damage on both the rear and the front of his car. And right now, as we took a look at it, he only had that damage showing on the rear. So I wonder if you're right. He used his fast repair after that first caution and then unfortunately got tangled up with something else. He no longer has his fast repair. But nonetheless, an unfortunate pit stop for him, as that was a very, very long journey down pit road.
Yeah, I just went back and looked. He does have the same damage he had from the first part of the race. Kind of, maybe he is just trying to save the fast repair here, thinking that he's going to be able to get the wave around or kind of be on this alternate strategy. Or maybe he might be able to cut out a pit stop, maybe. But that, I don't know if that's worth 2 laps of fixing a damage when you can just use your fast repair.
I agree. Lap 48 of 130. This is the Stay Puffed 200 No Toad Racing League. Here on Sunday nights, you can watch the Xfinity Series. They do a ARCA Series that is also broadcasted here on the YouTube channel. They run an 87s league, which I don't believe is broadcasted. And from my understanding, you guys are going to be testing the next gens here relatively soon, correct?
Yeah, we already did our first next-gen test here at Atlanta Friday. It was very interesting, kind of a new challenge for everybody. That's the first time that I can remember that I've DNF'd from a race in NTRL just because of this the snap oversteer you get from these cars, the new cars. It's just a whole different challenge that everyone's going to have to get used to, and this might have been the top of the challenge mountain for everyone to kind of get used to. But yeah, we've got our next gen series. We have our King of the Hill series that's on Saturday, where it's just mixture of anything and everything. You know, rallycross to GT cars and touring cars to Indy cars at Richmond, and just anything you can think of.
Well, I had no idea about that. I got Saturday nights free. You guys are going to have to send out the invite there for that. I've been looking to race something, anything on Saturday night, so I'll definitely have to take a look at that myself. But back to the racing here. After the pit stops, the first pit cycle, it looked like Ileana Hamilton was going to hold off the run of Kendall Kerr, but as I speak, it looks like Kendall Kerr going to take that lead back, and right now, looks like Kendall Kerr, I mean, I know there's a long way to go here, about 80 laps, 78 laps left here, but just a dominant performance so far from Kendall Kerr, barring anything crazy. Kyle, with Kendall, he has these moments to where he'll go out there and dominate an entire race and win it. It's not every week, but it seems like when he's in that moment, when he's on that track that he likes, that he really flourishes at, he has these dominant performances.
Yeah, he's just a good finisher, and he's a good driver. A little bit, you know, we've got our drivers we've had in the series that have kind of been flashy and all over the place. You know, like not flashy and over the place like reckless, but just like good and winning races. But Kendall's just been a really, really good, consistent driver. 2 wins or no, he's got 1 win on the season. Won one of our exhibition races for the season, but he is last 4 weeks or 5 weeks, 6 weeks, he's finished in the top 5.
Well, going into last season as well, which was the 47 show, it seemed like all last season, when Skyler was not running a particular night or maybe was just having an off night, it was the shoes of Kendall Kerr that filled in that role for Skyler Carnes. So even going back to last year, Kendall Kerr certainly making a name for himself in the NTRL league here, and certainly proving it here tonight as well. Newcomer Ryan Andrew, who was the pole sitter here tonight, he's up to 3rd. But a really good bounce from the 73 car of Ileana Hamilton. Didn't have such a good qualifying run as we've seen in the past. Started outside of the top 15 and 17th. But here we are after the first pit cycles, under control. Kendall Kerr, Hamilton, Ryan Andrew, AJ Binish, and Justin Malarkey in your top 5.
Yeah, we've got Skyler Carnes in the YouTube chat rooting for Oliver Turin, or his Turns as he had called him accidentally. But yeah, like one of the things that is important to note with our switch from the Sunday series going from ARCA to XFINITY is you just got it's not two different driving styles, but you just got a car that suits someone better than the other car. I feel like Kendall really, really, really likes this car better than he likes the ARCA car. So having this series switch over and kind of having a bunch of drivers kind of have to switch up, what they're used to driving to something, a lot heavier and, something that slides around a lot more, that could really hurt some people and help some others. And I think Kendall definitely is on the end of the help when it comes to switching to this car.
No Johnny Brugg this evening. No Gary Sargent as well. Of course, league owner not making the trip here tonight. Insert Ryan Andrew and Mike Koravu making their Sunday night debuts here tonight. Some other notables: Al Corey sitting in 8th, Terry Fullwider in that 9th position, Will Jester in 11th, Matt Piracini, unfortunately, after that first pit cycle, kind of struggling here a little bit, finds himself all the way back in the 16th spot. And in fact, I don't even think he's on track right now.
Yeah, no, Piracini is absent. I wonder what happened there. Atlanta is one of those tracks where you've got these really hard lines for the cautions to come out. So there's a very, very likely chance that either he spun or had some sort of mechanical issue or an internet problem. Yeah, it looks like he had an internet problem going into turn 1 on lap 57, just disappeared and hasn't come back.
James Lawson down here on an unscheduled pit stop on lap 59. Looks like he came down to get some tires. He's rocking the True Timber Camo 66. I don't know if that is maybe a scheduled pit stop for him. Maybe he's on some strategy that we don't know about, but certainly the only car to come down pit road here on lap 59. Back up front, Kendall Kerr in a pretty good spot here. He's over a half-second lead over Ryan Andrew, who, again, making his debut here tonight, got the pole. Sat back early on after that green flag. He dropped all the way outside the top 10, waited right before those pit cycles, around lap 42 or lap 43, to really start making his run back up to the front, which he did successfully, and now finding himself in that 2nd spot.
Yeah, James Lawson looks like he pitted probably about lap 20, so about 15 laps after we got green, going back green, and had stayed out that entire run. So that just looked like a scheduled pit stop for him. Interesting to note for the leaders here is, we've got only a lap difference from when Kendall Kerr pitted and when Andrew pitted. Hamilton and Malarkey had pitted a little bit before those two, so they're going to be on the back foot when it comes to tires. 1 lap isn't a lot, but it might be enough for Ryan Andrews here to kind of come up here and save enough and be able to pass Kendall Kerr here for the lead as we have the battle between the purple cars.
Yeah, 1 lap doesn't sound like a lot, when you're thinking big picture, but when you're on the very, very tail end of that green flag run and you're like a lap from coming down pit road, that's when a lap can really make the difference if you have the older tire versus the guy that has a lap on his tire. So overall, probably not that huge, but if we stay green flag here, a lap is a lap, right? I mean, everything counts here at Atlanta.
Yeah, Ryan Andrew on the back bumper here. Kendall Kerr looking on the inside. Is going to go to the bottom here. Be interesting to see if he can pull this off with the momentum Kendall Kerr will have on the high side. Kendall comes back, clears himself.
Yeah, and this is really when it gets interesting here at Atlanta. A lot of times these drivers will feel like they're getting a really, really big run on the inside, especially in the corner entry, and it looks like they're going to make the pass, but that outside line carries so much momentum, especially off corner exit, that it's just not enough, and that's what we saw a lap prior to this, and right now it looks like Kendall Kerr being able to hold off Ryan Andrew for now.
Yeah, it might be one of those things that happens as you start trying to push and pass that person where you're trying to get that inside line to work, and you've not been running that inside line the whole race, and you end up burning off your right front tire, getting underneath somebody, and then you end up falling back into the clutches of the car behind you.
So that's 1 and 2, Kerr and Andrew. What about 3rd and 4th? We have Ileana Hamilton, Justin Malarkey side by side going down into turn 1. It looks like advantage is on that inside line. Justin Malarkey, Hamilton giving that spot up. He's going to fall back in line now, single file. Behind those guys, AJ Binish, he's driving that 7 car, pretty much kind of all by himself. John Kriegler is there in the 99 Chevrolet behind him, but there is a lapped car in between them as well. So if you're Binish sitting in 5th, you do have a little bit of comfort knowing that there's a lapped car between you. Al Corey, he is on the move here on the inside of Michael McCuskey. This is the battle for 6th right now as they go across that what makes this a quad oval. You see on the front stretch there, there's just a little bit there to make this a, it's not a tri-oval like Daytona. There is a little bit of a quirk there on the front stretch, and as they make their way through that, now down onto the back stretch, Michael McCuskey being able to hold off the 45 of Al Corey. Right behind them in the Coors 9 is Terry Fullwider. Him and Corey both down on the white line. Michael McCuskey deciding to stay up high, and that might be what Al Corey needs. Coming down the front stretch right now, it's a drag race.
Interesting to note here, Justin Malarkey has got a couple extra laps on his tires as Kendall Kerr has just hit the wall on the backstretch. Ryan Andrew goes to the lead. Justin Malarkey is pitted a couple laps later than Ryan Andrews and Kendall Kerr here. It'd be interesting to see if he's got enough tire underneath of him to kind of get this momentum going and get back up to the leader he's here and be able to pass him and extend his run even further to potentially even be able to cut out that extra stop.
Yeah, Kendall Kerr into the wall there. Car maybe getting a little bit tight on him coming off the corner exit there. And now you see these guys, both him and Andrews, way down on that white line. That's about as low as we've seen here on these long runs. You'll see that certainly through 1 and 2. Through turns 3 and 4, you'll mostly see these guys running that high side, or if they do decide to stay low, it's still a good 5 feet off that white line. So right now I think Kendall Kerr, he needs to get back focused. He sees the back bumper of Ryan Andrew. He's not going anywhere on him right now, but certainly a mistake coming from the 21.
Yeah, we got Parasini back on the track. He's passing Justin Malarkey. He should be able to fly by these guys on fresher tires. It's always the fun part of if you're on an alternate strategy or you have a misfortune come your way, you can just kind of put some fresh tires on when other people don't have them, and you just blow by them. But then eventually at some point the roles switch and you look like the slow guy on track.
Yeah, and unfortunately, being 5 laps down, the 24, Matt Piracini, rocking the a partner to Faded TV, the Apex Designs there. Sean Rutt whipping up that 24 car for Matt Piracini right now on the inside of the leaders. Going to have to be careful here. Certainly not wanting to interrupt this race between these two drivers, but as you said, fresh tires. He's going to make easy work of that and try to recover as much as he can, as he is 3rd in the point standings here. So it's going to be a long night for him. I think there's 2 drivers that are in front of him for that lucky dog. You have the 77 of Corvair, Oliver Turan. Actually, there's quite a bit of drivers in front of him, unfortunately. So it's going to be tough for him to get on lead lap.
Yeah, but if we get a rash of yellows here, it should be a fun time. Hopefully him getting some of those laps back, and maybe potentially we could see him get back on the lead lap, but that would be very unlikely.
Yeah, and I mean, with those cautions, obviously come wrecks, and so who knows? Maybe the right guys get wrapped up in it. Who knows what kind of fortune Matt Piercini's going to have here tonight. We see Ryan Andrews getting a little bit loose coming off of turn 2 onto the back stretch as the 25 starts to slide. He did gain control of it pretty quickly there, but you got to start thinking here on lap 72, Kyle, this is almost where that second pit window is going to open up for these guys.
Yeah, and we've already had some drivers pit, like AJ Binish, and it looks like Willie Whitaker's coming up here, and being able to pass these guys, you know, having that tire difference is just amazing, where you can just fly by these guys. So we will start seeing some people kind of pop up and flying by, but then in a couple laps here, we're going to see the leaders pit, and then these guys come flying right back.
Yeah, Michael McCuskey down pit road, Ileana Hamilton as well, who at the time I believe was running in the top 5. He's one of the guys that's coming down pit road a little bit early, along with the 22 of McCuskey. So right now, those guys, lap 74, a little bit earlier into the pit window, as we said. But as this race gets a little bit deeper, these guys certainly trying to switch some things up. They certainly weren't making any ground on Kendall Kerr or Ryan Andrew. These guys have been up front putting on a clinic here at Atlanta. So now's the time to start thinking, okay, this isn't going to work. Let me come down. Let me get some tires. Let's start working on this fuel strategy here to try and come up with any kind of advantage that they can, trying to catch these leaders.
Ooh, Kendall Kerr just tried to pit coming on pit road, did not say anything, almost caused an accident, and almost spun coming on the front stretch.
Go ahead and use our iRacing rewind there. Kendall Kerr was running second there, as Kyle just mentioned. Came down pit road. As we take a look at the replay here, you see, yep, checking up right in front of the 37 there. Had to slam on the brakes, totally missing pit road, and there he gets a little bit loose there.
Yeah, it looks like he was just looking in his mirrors. He was trying to get to the bottom and was just had Willie Whitaker, unfortunately, was just right there, right when he was trying to pit. So, yeah, just one of those deals where, you know, communication is key. You got to come out, say something. We've had times where people have talked over each other or something. So, kind of maybe something to look at after the race.
Yeah, most certainly there is communication on track is key, as we see there now, certainly affecting what looked like was going to be one of the race favorites. Of course, still probably is. He's going to stay on the lead lap for now, as he is off pit road, I believe. But certainly not what you want there. No, and in fact, he is going to lose that lap as he's just now coming off pit road. So if you're Ryan Andrews there, Kyle, that's a huge weight lifted off your shoulder, knowing that Kendall Kerr found himself in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and it's going to move your focus from Ryan to, from Kendall to Justin Malarkey, who's currently sitting right behind him. You know, Malarkey can stretch us out a couple more laps than from Ryan. Maybe Ryan can start saving some fuel here to put him closer to Malarkey's window, or Malarkey can save some more and kind of push and stretch that out that extra couple laps. So this race is not over yet, as Ryan Andrews says he's pitting this time.
And we've seen Justin Malarkey be able to close out some races. You mentioned Bristol winner last year. Really, the entire second half of last season, Justin Malarkey turning it on in the ARCA series last year. Missing some races in the Xfinity series so far, but certainly making his presence known here tonight. He's going to take over the race lead as Ryan Andrew and Terry Fullwider, who was sitting in third, coming down and doing their second green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I mean, his last race here was in January the 23rd for the Xfinity Series, and that's the race he won. So, you know, winner hung it up for a while and decided to come back, and he's in the running again to go out and get a win. So, long break, but the result might be the same.
Now Malarkey coming down pit road as Ryan Andrew exits. So that's going to be the difference for those guys. The 97 car certainly looking for a clean pit stop here. We'll stay with him. He is in that second pit box there at the end of pit road. Going to get tires and fuel and hopefully come off of pit road in a competitive position, if you will, with Ryan Andrew.
Yeah, unfortunately, either Ryan saved a bit there or Malarkey didn't save enough to where they're kind of equalized on strategy here. So that advantage I thought Malarkey had is gone. So if you're Ryan Andrews, you're going to be happy seeing the 97 come out where he did. So
Yeah,
race isn't
certainly.
over yet.
Yeah, certainly with a huge advantage over Justin Malarkey on that one. Good point there. Marty Rogers takes over the race lead. Looks like he's going to stay up high. You have Ilian Hamilton in second in the 73 machine with Ryan Andrew in third. Of course, when those guys in front of him come down for their green flag pit stop, he's going to shuffle back up into the lead, barring a caution here. It's AJ Binish in the 7, currently sitting in 4th behind Ryan Andrew. John Kriegler in the 99, quietly been up into the top 10, top 5 here pretty much all night in his blue and green Chevrolet, with Kendall Kerr currently sitting in 6th.
Yeah, Marty Rogers and Ileana Hamilton, anybody who's stretching it out here, I'd kind of keep tabs on to see if they're going to be able to stretch it here. If they can cut out an extra pit stop or maybe put themselves in position to game the lead if a caution comes out. Marty is in a situation where he's saving or has saved or put himself in a position as he locks up going on the pit road, where you could save, enough to maybe cut out a pit stop, but then you end up just losing the track position and then nullifying the gains you made, falling back behind the leaders on a pit stop thing. So interesting to see here. I'm curious to see if Marty Rogers just got a penalty for his pit road entrance, because it looked a little hot there. But yeah, Ileana Hamilton's currently in the lead. He is stretching it. His last pit stop was on lap 73, the number on the door. He should be able to stretch. No, actually, so he's an early pitter, so this is an undercut, not an overcut. So we will see Ryan and AJ kind of reel him back in and pass him here, but be interesting to see how they stack up here for later in the run, and hopefully Hamilton's got enough fuel to be able to do just in one more stop here to the end.
And there is Ryan Andrew coming up onto the front stretch there, tracking down Ileana Hamilton. As Kyle just mentioned, these guys certainly on the fresher tires for the moment. But again, that's going to cycle as these guys are on different pit strategies. They have the advantage for now, but we'll see at the end of the race when it's all said and done who's got the advantage then as far as fuel and tires go. Looks like Ryan Andrews, though, having the race that he has wanted so far. A good showing from Binish here tonight. And again, Kriegler, Malarkey running 4th and 5th. Good showing for those guys as well.
Yeah, we're still at the beginning part of a run here, so this will shuffle up a little bit. But our two leaders before this pit stop were Andrew and Malarkey.
Oh! Not too sure what happened there. It looked like Al Corey, sorry to cut you off there. It looks like Al Corey barely had missed a situation there. Not too sure who that was, but Corey certainly having to swerve out of the way. You heard the contact as one of the drivers slid up the track, got into the wall there. That could have been really bad, but good heads up by the Canada Tire driver, Al Corey.
Yeah, James Lawson there is just trying to maybe widen out his entrance to either run middle or try to do the high side there and clip the wall. Unfortunately, I have done that on a public race before. When I was in D class, I had the pull. I went up in the first corner, thought I was next William Byron, and clipped my right rear quarter panel into the wall and slammed into the wall. So it's one of those things where it happens. You kind of get confused, or you're looking in the mirror too much and you end up smacking the wall there trying to enter the corner.
And unfortunately, his troubles did not start there as we see him getting loose, coming down into, I don't think he was trying to come down pit road. He was coming off of turn 4. He got a little bit loose, slid all the way across the track there into the grass, has to take a tow to pit road. So James Lawson there struggling a little bit. But fortunately for the rest of the field, able to stay green flag.
Yeah, it looks like he maybe have gone a little too long on those tires there, just was lacking the grip and maybe felt like he couldn't make it another lap there and went for an aggressive pit entrance with no one behind him and just missed it.
Well, and of course, you know, it's easy for some tracks, it's easier than others to know I really have to come down pit road. I feel like Atlanta sometimes can be that track where you think you're comfortable going another 2-3 laps, and in reality, you should have came down. It just happens all so fast when those tires start to die.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lawson has disconnected from the race, but yeah, it depends on what kind of race you're in. Right now, we kind of have like a fuel number you need to hit, so you got to manage your tires to fit in that window, not the other way around where you're just trying to stretch out on the tires. So it's one of those things where this track is difficult, where you kind of get in that hole where you start wearing out those tires, and then all of a sudden you're pushing every corner and you're hanging on, and then you can't get to the bottom, and then you're trying to pit, and then you miss the pit entrance, and then all of a sudden your race goes from being kind of bad to absolutely awful. Got a nice battle here for fourth between AJ Binish and Kendall Kerr. Kendall rebounding after that pit stop kerfuffle there with him and Willie Whitaker.
Yeah, it really is, and it looks like he is going to get the advantage over Binish here. And as you were saying that, Ryan Andrew taking the lead from Ileana Hamilton. Of course, we just assumed that was a matter of time. Fresher tires. Hamilton going to have to come down pit road eventually. So Andrew takes over the race. Malarkey currently in third. Right now we're watching Kerr and Binish. Kerr, who led the majority of the laps here tonight, ran into a little bit of trouble a little while ago, and really just trying to make his campaign back up towards the front, doing a good job here as he is now putting some separation between himself and Binish.
Yeah, he's been gaining here on the leader. I don't think he's going to be able to just drive straight up to Andrew and pass him for the lead, unfortunately. But yeah, we see Marty Rogers here on fresher tires. He's on an alternate strategy. He's been able to stretch it a little bit. Like I said, got to keep a tab on him and Ileana Hamilton. Or it's not Ileana Hamilton, sorry. Just keeping a tab on Marty here to see if he might be able to cut out this last pit stop here. And if he can kind of keep the gap over Ryan here to where if he doesn't stop, he's able to stay ahead of him even on old tires.
Yeah, and using Matt Piracini as a pick there through turns 1 and 2. Rogers trying to do everything he can to stay on the lead lap and to keep Ryan Andrews in his rearview mirror, successfully doing so through that portion of the track onto the front stretch, still being able to do so. But that's going to be a tough job for that 32 car to be able to hold off Ryan Andrews. We'll see if that's successful or not, but I guess the silver lining in that is you would assume Marty Rogers would be the first car up for the lucky dog if that does happen.
Yeah, well, the issue would be is Ryan Andrews pits, and then he's behind Marty Rogers, and they're battling for the lead. But Justin Malarkey is up into second. He is 1 second behind the leader here, Ryan. He's been able to rebound incredibly.
Yeah, right on the back bumper of Matt Piracini, using that momentum through the front stretch there. He stays high. Piracini, of course, a couple of laps down. He stays low. And here comes the run from Malarkey out of turn 2 onto the backstretch there. You see race leader Ryan Andrew in the view there. That's how close he's been able to tighten up this gap with the race leader. You have Michael McCuskey involved in there as well. Those guys, him and Piracini, a lap down. So that's not for track position there, but that is trying to get through this lap traffic and ultimately trying to catch the back bumper of Ryan Andrew.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think the distance between them after the pit stops was about 5 seconds. So he's 1.2 seconds behind. That's a 4-second gain here. He should be able to go an extra lap than Ryan. I'm not sure if Ryan pitted because of his fuel or if he felt like the tires he needed to just pit. But yeah, just it isn't over yet. I mean, Malarkey's done a really good job with his tires and managing his race, and he might be able to come out and just show that Ryan Andrews isn't the invincible guy that we made him out to be at the start of the race. He has his kryptonite, and it might be the 97.
Well, and certainly, a new guy coming in, look, there's respect, of course, given, and he's a fast dude, and he's been doing really well in other leagues, but you certainly don't want the new guy to win in his first night, right? You want one of those OGs, one of those guys that have been around to maybe take that checkered flag. Just a pride thing. But right now, Ryan Andrew, I don't think he's worried about any of that. He's up front all by himself pretty much. He's got a good 1.3 second lead over Justin Malarkey as they make their way down the backstretch. You see coming up again on some more lap traffic.
Yeah, and you talk about new guys joining leagues. You have the established group that is there before the new guys come in. So you have your top dogs, and you've got your guys that are kind of in the middle of the pack, and then you end up adding all these new people, and it ends up expanding the field. And then depending on how good the original crew is, it either adds to the top end of the field, or it just adds to the middle part of the field, or it ends to the back part of the field. And we've had a couple of drivers for every single different part of the field that you'd think of. So Ryan, I think, has definitely been one of those drivers that I'd rank as probably one of the better, or I would even go as far to say he's one of the best drivers we've ever seen come into NTRL. So and I've been one of the people that have been hyping him up since he's joined. So definitely a really good driver here. But Malarkey's not going to just let it be that easy of just letting him be the boogeyman to say, and let him stretch it out here.
Well, and of course, with 29 laps left, we're under the assumption these guys do have to make another pit stop, correct?
Yeah, that's the thing, is you needed to save enough here to make it to the end. So that's what I was referring to with Marty Rogers. Does Marty Rogers have enough fuel here to where he can make it to the end without stopping? So if he is able to not stop here, he might be able to sneak a win out here, or just a really good finish, as he tags the wall right as I start talking about him. And yeah, he's loosing all over the place. So
I don't think
Ryan
fuel. I don't think fuel is his concern at the moment. Right now, he's going to have to get his race car down pit road here relatively soon. Unfortunately, he had a good thing going. You were spot on there. He had the distance on Andrews. If he was able to keep that and stay on the lead lap and able to stay out there, but it certainly looks like that's not going to be the case. Already fighting that tire wear here at Atlanta, and now you see Andrew. I like adding S's to the end of names. I do apologize. But Andrew, putting him a lead lap down. So unfortunate for Marty Rogers, but I mean, even with that being said, the guy's still sitting in 6th place here.
Yeah, I mean, this is an impressive move here by the front part of the field, as we've put a lot of these guys a lap down. They've had their different strategies. They pitted early, so with this run kind of being within a fuel run, or a fuel distance here, we might see some strategy here with some 2 tires, with some gas and goes late. So like I said, it's not an easy win here for Andrews or Malarkey, because someone might be cooking up something that we aren't expecting, and pulls the rabbit out of the hat and gets the dub here. But I just got a message here from league admin Gary Sargent, explaining some of these new drivers and what has gone on with the Xfinity points, that I'm just going to address real quick. We have new drivers invited to the series. So we have Ryan Andrew, we have Michael Corvu, we've got Nick Biddy, we got Joe David, we've got Roy Hyde, and we've got Robert Hottenbach. They are allowed to compete in this series, but they will not get points. And even if Ryan Andrew wins this race, full points will go to the second place driver. So Justin Malarkey, even with him sitting in second place, will get first place points for tonight's finish if it stays how it is.
Wow. Well, that changes everything. For Ryan Andrew and Justin Malarkey, of course.
Yep, they're only going for wins and to not make anybody angry. But yeah, we're just sitting here with an interesting strategy here as we see that the 25 of Ryan Andrews pitted. Malarkey stays out. He has gone one extra lap so far, past when Andrews is pitted. So we've got interesting strategy here. We're going to probably see some undercuts. We're going to see some overcuts. We're going to see some just crazy stuff here.
Well, and of course, a league win is a league win. So even for Ryan Andrew, maybe he doesn't get to bask in the points, but he knows what's at stake here. First night in the Xfinity Series, trying to prove that the call-up for him was well worth it. So points or not, he's certainly going to still try to win this race. And as you see in the NASCAR tower on the left hand there, even after the green flag pit stop, he's still sitting in second place. He's 14 seconds off of John Campbell, but of course, Campbell going to have to come down to complete his own green flag pit stop. So it looks like after this shuffle, it's still going to be Ryan Andrew coming out on top. The only difference is Kerr and Malarkey have swapped for that second and third spot.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize. I did not realize that Malarkey had pitted there. So he is one lap older tires than the leader, Ryan Andrew.
And I'm not so sure where Kendall Kerr falls into this latest pit stop, if he has to come down or not. I'm going to see if I can find...
Kendall had pitted on lap 101, so he is rocking about 7 lap old tires.
Okay, so that's not good for him because it's looking like he's going to finish the race from here on out, of course, barring a caution. And you already see Andrew passing him, Malarkey now on the inside to put him down a spot. So not the greatest scenario if you're Kendall Kerr.
Yeah, as we're 29 laps to go here, we have John Campbell out front. He should be able to go about 10 more laps on fuel. So he is sitting in an interesting situation. Sorry, I'm wrong on my timing. We got 20 laps to go here. He is sitting in an interesting position here. He might be able to make it on fuel.
And he does have, he did have a 14-second lead. You do see that time, Kyle, a 14-second lead all the way down to now under 10 seconds. That's certainly got to be the strategy that he's going for, which is why you see the time elapse getting cut short as drastically as it has between him and Andrew. He is certainly probably going through these corners, saving as much fuel as he can. 20 laps to go. It's a bold move. I don't know if it's going to pay off.
Well, it might not pay off, but it might give him a good finish here. Andrew's last lap did a 32.4, and JC did a 33.8 as he's coming into pit road here.
Okay, so that's going to take care of that. 20 laps to go. No more drama surrounding the 117 car. He makes that call easy as he comes down pit road. And right now, it is the 25 Chevrolet of Ryan Andrew taking the lead back. Let's check in to see where Justin Malarkey is. He's right behind him, but almost a second and a half back is Justin Malarkey, and Kendall Kerr, of course, over 2 seconds behind the race leader.
Yeah, Malarkey on one lap older tire than Ryan Andrew. He should, be on equal footing here, but keeping it close and just being able to stay within the distance of Ryan Andrew here, make him use up his stuff, or maybe just stick close to him and hope that you don't equalize with Kendall Kerr and Kerr gets by you. Strategy-wise, John Campbell, him pitting, he's going to have a lot fresher tires in the field here. He should come out, just right behind Ryan Andrews, but he should be able to easily unlap himself. So will he be able to just make some moves here into the top 5, or maybe get a really, really good finish here? I don't think he's going to get the win, but, potentially could there be a good finish here on the cards for him?
And it's important to note after all these green flag pit stops that the leaders are pretty much safe from lap traffic. If you take a look at the track map on the right of your screen for the viewers at home, they really have Turin, really the only car up in front of them, but they came out of this. They're not going to have to deal with a whole lot of lap traffic through here. It's going to be a clean finish, it would appear, assuming we stay green.
Well, it's clean for Ryan Andrew, who's sitting out front with a clean racetrack in front of him, but we've got the 24 car of Matt Parasini sitting in second place, who's going to negatively affect Justin Malarkey here. Even if a lap car is nice and polite and gets out of the way, he's going to at least cost you something, whether that be kind of getting a clear marker of like how you're entering the corner. But Malarkey is closing in a bit on Andrews here.
Yeah, it really is. Now, can he use Matt Piercini a little bit? I know they're not getting a huge draft here at Atlanta, but where these guys are sitting right now with the front stretch and particularly the back stretch, well, and forget about that because Piercini goes high, Malarkey goes down low. That's the pass on a Matt Piercini, and here comes the 97 of Justin Malarkey off of turn 2, down the back stretch, trying to catch the race leader, Ryan Andrews, who's making his debut here tonight, and Justin Malarkey trying to ensure that that does not happen in the 97.
Yeah, no advantage here for lappers when you're by yourself, but if you're battling there for the lead and you've got a car on the high side, you could use them as a pick and kind of run that middle or kind of push that person up into a lapper. So, yeah, just a straight fight here between Andrew and Malarkey. Hopefully Malarkey's at least saving some of his stuff here with the laps we have left. We're sitting at 13 to go here. If, you know, you've got 13 laps, that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but you can abuse your tires and just run out of tire before the end of the race and just kind of fall like a rock.
Yeah, looking back with Kendall Kerr, Ileana Hamilton, those guys 3rd, 4th, Creedler running 5th, but those guys over 4 seconds behind your race leader right now, so it really does come down to just these two drivers with 13 laps to go. Again, if we stay green here, it does look like this is going to come to a two-man race. We're on Ryan Andrews right now. He's the black and purple car all the way down at the white line. Behind him, Justin Malarkey in the white and green 97, trying to chase down the leader, doing a really good job. You see the relative on the left-hand side, Kyle. This lead is less than half a second.
Yeah, catching him's one thing, passing him is a whole other deal, because you've got to get in a position where you can get the momentum and pass Andrew into a corner and clear yourself so you're able to kind of run your line. You know, running like a smaller radius corner, you know, is really going to hamper your momentum here. But yeah, Justin Malarkey, really, really good job here. Interested to see how he can close this out.
Yeah, that was huge for Malarkey right there. We seen Ryan Andrew making the pass on Oliver Turan, getting past that lap car on the backstretch there. I was a little bit worried to see if it was going to take Justin Malarkey maybe another half lap or so to do the same, but Oliver checked it way up high going down into turn 3, which allowed Malarkey to make the clear on him as well. So both those drivers getting past the lap traffic, and right now, if you look out in front of them, both these guys pretty much smooth sailing from here on out with just 11 laps to go. Coming up on 10, Ryan Andrew, your race leader here tonight. Justin Malarkey trying to track down the race leader.
Yeah, Malarkey did some experimenting there, ran the high side, just trying to do something different here to kind of close the gap here on Ryan Andrew. Lost a 1/10 of a second that last lap. So, yeah, it made Ryan Andrew move up a little bit. Yeah, Ryan Andrews running a different groove now, kind of covering what Malarkey was doing.
So if you're Ryan Andrew right now, and it does look like he's gained the lead a little bit more here now. We're almost at 3/4 of a second. If you're Ryan Andrew, what's going through your head right now? You're done with all the lap traffic. You know Malarkey had a little bit of a run on you, but he's starting to slip off a little bit now. I mean, your main focus has got to be trying to save as much tire as you can, but also you don't want to give up a whole bunch of momentum to Malarkey.
Yeah, I think our drivers out front here, they're not going to make a lot of mistakes here. As we see that Malarkey is just losing a little bit more time, might have gone a little bit too aggressive too early and kind of burned those tires off. But you just got to focus on hitting your marks and not burning off those tires and getting too excited about the car behind you getting closer in the mirror, because he might be coming closer to you, but he might be saving tires as well. So you need to make sure that you're on equal footing, at least when he gets next to you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we see that lead now go well over a second with Ryan Andrew leading Justin Malarkey. Behind them, you see Kerr, Hamilton, Creedler. That's stretched all the way to 6.5, 8, and 13 seconds. So right now, Andrew Malarkey certainly in complete control of this race, but Malarkey losing the speed right now, or the battle, if you will. But of course, as you mentioned, with just 7 laps to go here, Malarkey may have purposely trailed off a little bit, trying to save some of his tires. We'll see if he has anything in store for Andrew as this race goes on with 6 laps left.
I would bet on the fact that Malarkey is kind of fallen off the cliff a tiny bit here, and that's why he's fallen back, but you never know. Ryan Andrew, he was in control of the race. He was 5 seconds ahead of Malarkey at some point, and then Malarkey catches him, and now he's starting to gap. So might be a closed book here for Ryan, but you never know. Late race cautions strategy here. You can see some crazy stuff.
Five laps to go here. NTRL. This is the Xfinity Series on Sunday nights. We're on the back half of the schedule here. Johnny Brugg coming into tonight as the points leader. He's on vacation, which really, if you're Kendall Kerr, this third place may not seem like a win at all, but you certainly should be taken as one with the points that he's going to walk out of here with. A third place finish, it will be pretty good for him. We talked about Andrew. This will not be a points race for him, but still, you're out there to win the race. That's what he's trying to do. You see the lead going up to almost 2 seconds now over Malarkey, and I do think it's safe to say this would be a little late to hold anything back, don't you think, Kyle?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he would have, been able to at least get alongside Andrew there if he was had any stuff left. But yeah, just a good run there for Malarkey. Nothing to be disappointed about. Good second place finish, and finishing that close to Ryan is good job.
And it looks like only 7 laps are going to be on the lead lap. Al Corey sitting in that 7th position. A good run for the 45 car of Al Corey. Of course, he does all the graphics and all the behind the scenes production for No Toad Racing League. Always a huge shout out to Al Corey, kind of the designer and the brain behind all this stuff that we present to you guys live on Sundays and the ARCA series as well during the week. Going to be one of his better finishes here this year.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of an unfortunate year here for Al. Having some bad finishes just due to some bad luck. But yeah, very, very good driver. Hopefully he can get a good run here at the end. Any sort of race where we have fuel mileage come into play, I'd put a little bit of money on him to kind of pull something out of the hat.
Ryan Andrew takes the white flag down into turn 1. He has the 3.5 second advantage over Justin Malarkey. A good showing from Sunday night rookie driver, if you will, Ryan Andrew. And it looks like he is going to take the win here at Atlanta. A phenomenal race between him, Malarkey, Kendall Kerr, who led a ton of laps here at Atlanta. Ileana Hamilton, who started really bad qualifying-wise, finds himself into the top 5. Going to be in 4th, John Creedler in that 5th position.
Yeah, awesome finish there and win by Andrew. He's a driver that when he was announced that he was going to come into the series, there was kind of a little bit of a groan, not because of a concern of driving standards, but just a concern of whether or not that individual could compete with him, showing why he's got that that kind of stigma around him just being so fast because he can close out the deal there. So good job by Ryan winning on debut and kind of cementing himself as the potentially the new top dog in the Xfinity series.
Well, and Ryan Andrews starting his celebration a little bit early. We're still waiting for some drivers to cross the finish line, Marty Rogers being one of them. I didn't know this. Marty Rogers is only about 30 minutes from me. I didn't know that. He's from Woodstock, Illinois, which is about a half hour north of where I'm at. So cool to see somebody kind of, close to you. It seems like everybody's really spread out on the East Coast and down south here, but nonetheless, that doesn't matter. Ryan Andrews picks up the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, making his Sunday night debut. We are going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with the race interviews.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flags Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
And as always, don't forget, use code FADEDTV for 15% off all setups, subscriptions, coaching, paints, you name it. Use code FADEDTV at checkout with Makoni Setups. We're going to get some race interviews underway here. Of course, that's going to start with Kendall Kerr coming in third place here tonight, number 21. Kendall, you came in fighting for a championship, and with Brugg being gone this evening, making the best of it, finishing in the podium.
Yeah, it was a good night overall, especially for the lack of practice. Was able to get in. It was fun racing around Malarkey and the 25 there. Ileana and AJ and those guys. Hayda got tied up with a lap tar there trying to go down pit road. I know you're supposed to call out going down pit road, but you're trying to undercut the leaders and gain a couple seconds on them. The last thing you want to do is tell them when you're pitting, so I was just hoping he'd see that I was down there and typically running the high line in 3 and 4 and then drop to the bottom, but ended up missing pit road and probably cost me about 10 seconds and finished about 9.5 behind the leaders, so that was that. But yeah, any night you can come in and be the highest finisher of all the regulars. Obviously it's a good points night, but just wish we could have had one more shot at it there at the end with maybe a late race yellow, but those races are so hard to win. You have to be perfect.
Yeah, good job there, Kendall, getting P2 points with a P3 finish because Ryan Andrews is not eligible for Xfinity points. Good job here with the podium, kind of taking advantage of the run there, like Faded just said. But yeah, any notes or how did you feel about your run there at the end? I know you said you felt like you lost about 10 seconds there and sat about 9.5, but did you really feel like you had a run there for the win with Ryan?
I mean, if I didn't miss pit road, I don't know that I even could have handled Ryan, to be honest with you. He was like, through the first run, he caught me right on the last couple laps of that long run there and got by me right before we pitted. And then the second time around, he caught me maybe 5 laps. So I could tell he was like, probably if things would have worked out the same way, he probably would have, passed me maybe with 7 laps to go or so. I don't know, but he was on a roll on those long runs tonight. But yeah, just happy to be here talking to you guys. The podium finish. It's always good to get the Ready Foundation some TV time.
All right, third place driver Kendall Kerr. Appreciate your time. Congrats on the podium, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you guys.
Next up, second place driver, and of course, the guy that we talked about a lot towards the end, driving the 97 car, Justin Malarkey. Justin just kind of burning up those tires on that last green flag run, not having enough to catch Ryan Andrew, but you still got to feel good about where you finish. You started second, you finished second. It really don't get much better than that.
Yeah, I'll take that. Can't go wrong with qualifying up front and being able to finish up there. It was definitely an interesting race. It was neat with all the different grooves and different strategy going on.
Yeah, it's been a bit since you've been in this series. I got it wrong during the broadcast, unfortunately. Your last race here is in the Daytona Oval. You got a pretty bad finish there just because of, normal Daytona stuff. But how do you feel coming out of here with a second place finish against the newcomer and hot shot Ryan Andrew?
Yeah, he definitely had some good long run speed, that's for sure. He was able to run the outside better than pretty much anyone that I saw. I missed doing these races for sure. I just we had a couple kids' birthday parties the last few weekends, and I just drove everything a little bit behind. But yeah, he definitely had speed tonight. He was able to go out there longer on that final run, and I ended up pitting, and he just had a better long run car all around.
Well, either way, it was a good, solid run. A lot of green flag racing out there. As I think we only had 2 cautions, and of course, one of those starting really early on. Second place driver Justin Malarkey, driver of the 97. Congratulations. What's the rest of this season look like for you?
Hopefully I'll be here every night. It should be. The schedule's pretty free now going forward. Just had a couple birthday parties in between there for the kids. But yeah, I should be back, and looking forward to finishing the final few races. This is a really good league.
All right, thanks, Justin. Appreciate your time.
Have a good one.
Next up, of course, race winner. Also, the guy making his debut here tonight with No Toad Racing League, but no stranger to league racing, the driver of the 25 car, Ryan Andrew. Ryan, it looked like early on it was the Kendall Kerr show. You had actually fallen back a little bit, I think even at one point outside the top 10. Was that intentional at the beginning of the race and then towards the middle and the end? What made you so dominant here at Atlanta?
Well, during that first part of the run, I was mainly trying to save tires, and I realized that I might have gave up too much time trying to save them when it wasn't necessary. As I went through the race, I started pushing it harder and harder, just managing my tire wear, and then knew I had to cover off second place there with about 15-20 to go, I think.
Yeah, good run for you here tonight. Went on debut in the Sunday series. You tend to kick everyone's butt and everything else, and did so tonight. How did you feel about Justin Malarkey and Kendall Kerr there? Did you feel like they had anything for you, or did you feel like you kind of had it in the bag after that first pit stop run?
I knew that I was saving tires a little bit better than them. They obviously were chopping off my lead a lot at the beginning, but I wasn't too worried since I knew that the tires would equal out and I would eventually become faster than them at the end of the run.
Well, I'll tell you what, I certainly am looking forward to having you on the track with Johnny Brugg. Maybe we'll get a race out of Skylar Carnes. Who knows? But certainly nice to have a new face and a new name here on Sunday nights. Winning here at Atlanta in the Stay Puffed 200, the driver of the 25 car, Ryan Andrew. Ryan, congratulations. And you going to be running the rest of the schedule here on Sundays?
Yeah, I should be running the rest of the races. I'm excited for Watkins Glen, big road course driver here, so should be fun.
Yeah, road course ringer. Myself, I love racing the road courses in these stock cars. I love calling the races too. So we'll be keeping an eye out on you, Ryan. Kyle, anything else you'd like to end with?
No, just congratulations to Ryan Andrew. I expected him to come out and do good, and he came out and did good. So, yeah, good race there, man.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Ryan, have a good night, and we'll talk to you next week. That was race winner Ryan Andrew. Kyle, pretty good night here at Atlanta. A lot of times I feel like you see a lot more cautions than what we saw. I mean, you take away that first caution that happened on the first lap. This was really green flag racing. I think that's rare at Atlanta, especially with how loose these cars get on these green flag runs. It seems like there's always somebody sliding off turn 2, down the back stretch, hitting the wall. You know how it goes, whether it's an official or a league race. So, I mean, overall, hats off to all these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, I feel like we got some help there with we do practice race on Wednesday. We have a practice race on Friday, but we also added the next gen series Friday, and doing it in the next gen, and with the next gen being as kind of snappy and as crazy as that car is, I think that really helped today with some of the drivers coming into this car and kind of realizing the feel of the edge in this car a little bit better than they would in the next gen. So that probably helped. But yeah, I mean, just good clean racing out of everybody. Impressive job, just not having these repetitive wrecks you tend to see in the official stuff where people kind of send it every corner. But yeah, just good long runs. Able to see some tire wear, kind of comers and goers, and then Ryan Andrew coming out on top.
Well, I agree with everything that he just said. An exciting race here at Atlanta. I believe Watkins Glen will be next up next week, so that should be really fun. Hopefully you're back with us here in the booth. For Kyle Gretsch, I'm Brandon Robinson with Faded TV. We appreciate you guys hanging out to the end. We'll see you next Sunday, but of course, check out the rest of the week here with these guys. Have notifications turned on. Every time they go live, you'll get a notification. You'll be able to check out their ARCA series and any other stuff that they have going on their YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys tuning in here tonight. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time.